Hey, let's have a story.
Will you tell us a story?
Yeah.
Oh, please, Mr. Z.
Story time, story time.
Can't you see I'm busy?
Come on, man.
Besides, you know I don't know any.
Everybody knows stories.
Well, I don't. I grew up an orphan like you all and didn't learn any. If I did, maybe I'd tell you, but I didn't, so I won't. Now quit your yapping and get to sleep.
The Z-Man's got nothing going for him.
What a way to grow up. No stories. I sure don't want to end up like him.
Maybe we will.
Cheer up, baby cheeks. I know where we can hear stories.
You do?
Where? Tell us, Long John, tell us.
Shh, plenty of them. But you've got to be real quiet and follow me.
You saying we jump ship tonight?
But Mr. Z's sad.
Quiet, you want to hear stories or not?
You know we do.
Okay, then follow me. And don't tell anybody.
Ooh, you sure this storytelling place is still open?
Look, there it is.
What a funny little house.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's home.
I got news for you. Nobody's been home here for a long time.
Should we just walk in?
I'm not sure.
I thought you said you'd been here before.
I want to go back to bed.
I never said I'd been inside.
Aw, man, you're gonna get us in jail.
I just said it was full of stories.
Look, it's opening by itself.
Oh,
This is cool.
wow.
Take me home now.
No, let's go in.
Look at all the rooms.
It's bigger on the inside than on the outside.
Not bad at all.
Which way now?
Hey, check out the sign on that door.
In the beginning. Seems like a good place to start.
But it's empty.
Something funny in there.
It's just the wind.
Where's my story, Long John?
I think it's about to start.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Let's split this scene.
Wait, let's listen.
I'm Jackie.
But they were without form, and there was a darkness over everything. And God said,
"Let there be light."
and there was light. And God knew it was good. So he divided the light and the dark, and called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And that was the first day. On the second day, God said,
"Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters."
and God made the firmament and separated the waters which were under the firmament from the waters above the firmament. So beneath the firmament was the earth, and God called the firmament heaven. And there was evening, and there was morning, a second day. Then on the third day, after seeing the earth was covered with water, God said,
"Let the waters be gathered in one place, and let the dry land appear."
and it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called the seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said,
"Let the earth bring forth grass and herbs and trees with fruit and seeds so the plants can replenish themselves."
and so it was. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. And God said,
"Let there be lights in the sky, and let them be signs for the days and the seasons and the years, and let them be lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth."
and so God made the sun, the moon, and the stars. And God set them in the heavens to give light to the earth. And he saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fourth day. And God said,
"Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the sky."
God created great creatures to swim in the seas, and birds to fly in the air. He blessed them all and said,
"Be fruitful, fill the waters, and multiply over the earth."
and there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. And God said,
Let the earth bring forth living creatures, cattle, livestock, and wild beasts.
and it was so. God made the animals and beasts of the earth, and he saw that it was good. Then he said,
Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth.
And there went up a mist from the ground, and God formed man out of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. The man's name was Adam, and God planted a garden called Eden, and told the man to tend the garden and keep it. He told the man also to give names to all the fish and birds and animals. Adam did this. God said,
It is not good that the man should be alone.
so God made Adam sleep and took one of Adam's ribs, and from the rib God made a woman called Eve. God blessed both of them and said,
Be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth, and have dominion over the fish and the birds and the animals. For I have given all this earth to you.
And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a sixth day. Thus the heavens and earth were finished. And on the seventh day, God rested. And he blessed and sanctified the seventh day, because on it he rested from all his good work.
There really are stories here.
What'd I tell ya?
Let's hit another room.
More stories for me.
But what happened to Adam and Eve?
You heard Yinling. They lived in the garden.
In Eden. Happily ever after.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
No way.
Yeah, I
Are
want to
you
know.
sure?
Sure.
We want to know. Tell us, House.
Why is that door painted black?
Only one way to find out.
Story, story.
Look, in the center. What a strange piece of fruit.
Don't touch it.
God made grow every tree that is pleasant to look at and good to eat. There was the tree of life in the garden, and also the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the Lord God commanded Adam, saying,
Of every tree in the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you may not eat. And if you do, you will surely die.
One day, a crafty serpent approached Eve.
Did God really say, you shall not eat of any tree in the garden?
We may eat from every tree in the garden,
Yes,
except that tree, over there.
that tree. The beautiful one.
Yes, God said we can't eat the fruit from that one, or even touch it, or we will die.
You will not die. For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil.
When the woman saw that the tree was good for food and pleasing to her eyes, she desired it. And Eve ate the fruit. Then she brought some of the fruit to Adam, her husband, and he ate. what they saw was nakedness, they became ashamed, and they sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. And they heard the sound of God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid themselves.
Adam, where are you?
I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid.
Why?
Because I was naked.
Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten the fruit of the tree which I commanded you not to eat?
The woman who you gave me, Eve, she ate the fruit. Then she gave it to me to eat.
Is this what you did?
The serpent tricked me.
God saw the serpent.
Because you have done this, you are cursed above all creatures, and shall crawl on your belly and eat dust for the rest of your days. Woman, because you disobeyed me, I will multiply your sorrows. You shall give birth to children in great pain. Man, because you disobeyed me, I will curse the ground, and from it you shall eat sorrow for all the days of your life. You will sweat and work to eat until you return to the ground. For it was out of the ground I made you. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return.
Why would anybody listen to a snake?
She was tricked. The serpent lied to her.
If a snake started talking to me, I'd listen.
I still say she was dumb.
What about Adam? He wasn't even tricked. Yeah, Eve just gave him the fruit, and he ate it.
You got it. Adam jumped right in.
So what does that mean, Long John?
It means you shouldn't listen to girls.
He didn't have to listen.
I think it means you shouldn't listen to anyone but God.
That's why the world's so messed up, 'cause he disobeyed God.
And it was all so beautiful. Where'd they go when God sent them out of the garden?
More stories.
Let's see what's behind door number 3.
Adam and Eve had 2 sons, Cain and Abel. Cain was a farmer, and Abel was a shepherd. Now, when they made offerings to God, he looked on Abel's offering favorably. But with Cain's offering, he was not pleased, which angered Cain. God said to Cain,
Why are you angry? If you do what is right, I will accept it. But if you do not do what is right, and I do not accept it, then it is your fault. The sin lies at your door, waiting to trap you.
Cain refused to believe what God had told him. And when the 2 brothers went into the field, Cain killed Abel. Then God asked Cain,
Where is your brother?
How should I know?
What have you done?
Am I my brother's keeper?
The voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground. He lies there because of you. I curse you from the very same ground. From now on, no matter how hard you work the earth, it will never give you crops. You will spend the rest of your life a beggar, wandering the earth.
That punishment is more than I can bear. I will be killed.
No. If anyone slays you, I will take vengeance on them sevenfold. You will live out your punishment.
Then Cain left God's presence and wandered the land.
Cain became kind of an orphan, like us.
Yeah, but he was bad. We weren't.
You've got us, baby cheeks. We'd never hurt you.
Jackie's right. I'm no Cain. I take care of my brothers and sisters.
Right on, we're family.
Except Mr. Z.
To him, a family is just a job.
He doesn't know any better. How could he, never hearing these stories?
My man's gotta learn. Taking care of people's not a job, it's a way of life.
So what happened next?
Let's try the next room.
Eve bore Adam another son, called Seth. For she said,
God has appointed for me another child instead of Abel, for Cain slew him.
To Seth a son was born, and his name was Enosh. And Cain had a wife who bore him a son whose name was Enoch. And Enoch became the father of Methuselah. And Methuselah had a son named Lamech. And Lamech became the father of Noah. But God was not pleased, because he saw that the evil of man was great. In fact, people were so wicked, and the earth so full of corruption and violence, that God was sorry he ever created mankind at all. All that is, except Noah, who walked with God. Noah had a wife and 3 sons named Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And his sons had wives too, and they found favor in God's eyes. God said,
Noah, the world is filled with violence. I must destroy it. But you shall build a large ark, 3 stories high and watertight. You shall enter into the ark with your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives. With you, I want you to bring 2 of every living creature, 1 male and 1 female, and keep them alive. Take what food you need for yourselves and for them. For behold, I, even I, will bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
Noah did all that God commanded him. And at the end of the long work, God said to him,
Go into the ark, for in 7 days I will cause it to rain for 40 days and for 40 nights, and every living substance I have made will be destroyed from the face of the earth.
That same day, Noah and his family and all the animals entered the ark. The animals were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. And the Lord shut the door. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. For the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. The waters increased, lifted the ark, and raised it above the earth. All the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. All flesh that moved upon the earth died. Birds, beasts, mankind. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Those that were with him in the ark. God remembered them. He made a wind pass over the earth, and the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped. The rain from heaven restrained. The waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Then the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. When Noah let a dove fly from the ark, she returned after finding no place to rest. Noah knew the water still covered all the earth. When he sent her out again, she returned with an olive branch. So Noah knew the waters had receded. And the 3rd time he let the dove fly, she did not return. So Noah removed the covering from the ark, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. God said to Noah,
Go forth from the ark, you and your wife, your sons and their wives. Bring forth every living thing that is with you, that they may breed abundantly and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth.
Noah built an altar and praised God, making offerings to him. And God said in his heart,
I will not again curse the ground for man's sake, nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done. The seasons shall not cease.
And God blessed Noah and his family and said to all of them,
Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. The earth and its creatures will live in fear of mankind, and the blood of man I will require, and the life of man. But whoever sheds man's blood, so his blood shall be shed. For in my image I have made man. I will establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all life be cut off by the waters of flood. Never again shall a flood destroy the earth. As a token of this covenant which I make with you and your future generations, I set my rainbow in the clouds. And whenever I bring rain unto the earth, that bow shall be seen in the clouds as a reminder of this covenant, a reminder to me and to all life upon the earth.
All right.
I never thought rainbows were so important.
Hey, we should let the Z-Man in on these stories.
He's too old.
Nobody's too old for these stories.
I don't want to bring him here. It's our secret.
We could bring the stories to him.
I personally volunteer to fill him in on God creating everything.
Adam and Eve, too.
Tell him not to listen to snakes.
Yeah, or anyone else.
Except God.
He should learn what Cain did to Abel.
So he'd know to please God first.
And what happens when we don't.
The big flood, that's what happens.
Unless you do what God wants, just like Noah. And maybe God will give Mr. Z his very own rainbow.
I want one, too. It's getting late.
Let's get home.
I have a feeling we'll be back.
Real soon, I hope.
In our dwelling place, there is room for all the children. In our dwelling place, room for me and you. In our dwelling place, there are many stories. In our dwelling place, we will learn the truth.
Our Dwelling Place is one of a series of inspirational videos from Rainfall Toys Incorporated. Collect them all, as well as other exciting Bible-related products from the company that cares about kids.